They're both completely fake.
Neither have been isolated.
Yes.
But we have digital mockery.
Yeah, we have the V word.
Okay, we're recorded. All right, welcome to the CG Patriot Podcast, Awake with Reason. Today is Wednesday, April 14th, the day after Tuesday. We've got a special guest here today. His name is David Weiss. He's the legendary flat Earth expert, and I've got him on the show. So, David Weiss, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Legendary, I don't know. Just a guy with a big mouth that's going on a lot of shows. So there's a lot of people that know as much as me and more than me. I just make myself more available.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I took the word legendary. It's actually one of the folks that in the video that I posted earlier on the show for the premiere of this. It was their term, legendary. So I was like, you know what? They're saying you're legendary, so you're legendary. It was the people in the comments.
I appreciate it. People, you know, it's a great subject. It never gets boring. Once you see the flat Earth, you never unsee it. Yeah. And every day is a new adventure.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And that's kind of why I wanted to invite you on the show. Is my journey this past year, and I was going to have a friend that was going to come on, that was going to be somebody that I'd like to kind of, you know, push a little towards the cliff of diving into the flat Earth. He's on the edge. There's a lot of friends that I have that are on the edge that aren't willing to go that next extra step. But for me, it all started with, you know, that movie Beyond the Curve, which was a couple of years ago, which was, again, this whole, you know, from my knowledge, that particular documentary, I think it was on Netflix, is really just a Mockingbird Media really representation of this thing right here. And
it was a complete deception, and it was a dishonest film, and they took things out of context. It's like if I said, hey, you know, is that a hat on your head? And you said yes, they took it and edited it to where you said no. I mean, it was that deceptive. Yeah.
And that's what the interesting part was. That did spark my because if you seed my brain with a concept like that, I'm going to take it another step. So I didn't look at it from my perspective. It was a new idea in my head, but it actually seeded my brain for this past year is when I ran into your stuff, and then the flat Earth, your clock app. So that was the only way I can get to the, like you mentioned in some of the videos, it's the only way I can get to the actual, like the meat of the content, not the stuff that's filtered through, you know, YouTube. That's it right there. Yeah. And so I took about my wife. It was funny because my wife was like, I was literally 2 days just going through videos, and it was
welcome to the club.
My eyes were just going. You know, it was one of those things, and there were a couple of those videos, and I kind of want to get into that today, where the gravity of the lie, and I hate to use the word gravity, right? The gravity of the lie is so big that when you, even if you're like, again, quote, conspiracy theorist, you still, when that really sinks in, and then you have that, like that moment where you're like, it's flat. It's definitely not heliocentric. It opens everything else up. Like all of it, all the lies seem to just kind of, it opens every other lie up that's happening to us around, you know, current state of affairs. So
that's what I found. I was looking into other conspiracies before I came across flat Earth, and no matter what you wake people up to, they still go right back to sleep. Yeah. Once you see flat Earth, it's literally like being unplugged from the Matrix. Yeah. You all of a sudden see the world for what it is, and you take your power back. It's Absolutely. A good thing. The shape of the Earth doesn't matter. The lie matters. The globe is a prison for your mind. And once you see that it's not a globe, your mind is now out of that prison.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how it felt. That's really how it felt. And the person that I was, because my wife and I this past year have been going through kind of the awakening, I guess you would say, is basically just uncovering. We've been at home uncovering all of these kind of deceptions, and I've had a think outside the box mentality for a long time, but this is next level stuff. So I was always open to new ideas, but this past year has been, I mean, if I talked to myself a year ago with like two people in a room, me maybe a year and a half ago, and me today, the guy from a year and a half ago would think I'm absolutely insane.
Yeah,
So,
that's the same here. I mean, I'm
yeah.
talking about the creator, the flat Earth, space doesn't exist. Um, 6 years ago for me,
Yeah.
I'd be like, "You're crazy! I would never do
Right.
that." I was pretty much an atheist, and of course the Earth is a globe. But now,
Yeah.
it's changes everything. Changes
Yeah.
everything. Life's getting better, right? All the time, even during
100%.
this nonsense that's going on.
I know it's this weird it's this weird feeling of I hate to use the word at peace, but it gives you it's something like I just feel I don't feel as everybody else is that's still, I hate to use even the word still asleep, but everybody else who hasn't been awakened by some of these, particularly this one,
Sure.
some of this material coming out is they're stressed out. They're like, they're all over the board.
Here's what flat Earth does. It takes away the fear of running out of, that being hit by an asteroid,
Yeah.
that global warming, nuclear bombs,
Yeah.
the terrorists, because when you wake up to flat Earth, you start seeing through all of these things. There's no food shortage. We live in a
Yeah.
world where you can stick a seed into the dirt, water will fall from the sky, and food will grow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People don't realize that,
Yeah.
and like, if I had one apple, how many seeds are in an apple? It's like 20 seeds in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I can grow 20 apple trees that grow 10,000 apples.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no food shortage. There's no seed shortage. There's nothing.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's I'd like to eventually pick your brain on the other stuff, but let's because the other stuff is wild, man. This past year has been a wild adventure. So
Yeah.
I want what I want to get into is just do a quick background for the audience of your journey to flat Earth. I know you do it in a lot of the videos, but if you can just give us an update on that.
So my journey was, I was doing a conspiracy podcast in the third year. People started sending me flat Earth stuff. And
Okay.
I was like, get out of here. Just delete. They kept sending it. So I banned them from our social media because they're too stupid to listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
And then I was forced to look by somebody I trust. And they sent me Mark Sargent's clues that he had just started putting out. And I said, all right, that's interesting. Well, I'm just going to disprove this. And for 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. I researched constantly. And then I came out the other side going, oh my God, the Earth is not a ball. And then it just spiraled from there. Unlike the Earth is not spiraling. And that my podcast Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole kind of blew up because the guys couldn't handle it, and it had gone 3 years anyway. And then I started the Flat Earth podcast, and then I'd be talking to groups of people. I wasn't doing much online, just talking to people in person. And I said, I wish I had like a little model to show them. So I built an app for myself that I wasn't even going to publish.
Mm-hmm.
I just had it on test flight. And I would show it to people, and everyone goes, where can I get that app? They want the app. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll publish it. And then I published it for free. And a lot of people started downloading it, but then they would like, hey, can you add this? Can you add that? And it started costing me money. So I then changed it to $3. And so I could start, I was like, hopefully this thing could fund itself. Well, it really took off, and I realized it could fund me. And I
Yeah.
quit my own company. I was making a high 6-figure salary
Mm-hmm.
with my own company, and I walked away from it all, which is insane.
Yeah.
Right? Insanity.
Yeah.
Insanity. But I literally looked up and said, give me a sign. And I had 5 signs thrown at me. Like if I didn't duck, one of them was going to knock me out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left, and here I am talking to you and talking. I just got off of the SGT report.
Oh, nice.
And I did, I don't know. I'm doing 20 to 25 interviews a week. So
yeah, I saw your
yeah.
schedule. Well, I saw, what your schedule lacked was it was time available.
Yeah.
You're a busy man. And SGT report is actually that one, and like X22 are like the main ones that I watched when I first started coming out of my my MSM induced coma last year. So SGT report's a great resource. That's absolutely great.
Yeah. Sean's amazing. And Sean, we don't agree on everything, but Sean sees he knows about the globe lie, and he took a lot of heat for having flat earthers on there. He had me and Marty Leeds on first, and that was a while ago. I've been on, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, 5 times.
Yeah.
But every time, people are coming around. It's amazing. So, what's my goal? To wake up as many people as I can, because when you wake up to this, You unplug from the fear matrix, you stop giving away your power, and we can win this thing that's going on right now, this insanity. We could win because they have no power other than the belief in our mind that they have power. Imagine if everyone said, I don't believe they have power anymore, and we just opened our businesses and did our thing and collaborated together, and use cryptocurrency instead of their dollars and stuff. They're done. They're just
Yeah.
going to wither away and die, right?
No, it's true. It's true, and it's interesting because of that. You see the Project Veritas. Not to get too off topic, but Project Veritas is CNN expose.
A
They
while
literally,
ago, right?
yeah.
No,
No, this was recent. This came out today or yesterday.
Oh, I did not see
They
it yet.
caught the technical director point blank saying that we basically, what our deal is that we sell fear, and on camera multiple times. So yeah, it's interesting you say that fear matrix is embedded in mainstream media. So he says it on camera. It's pretty amazing. You can check it out on YouTube.
I will look that up after we're done.
Nice. Yeah. So all right. So let's go into I already went through my flat earth journey. I'm just taking a look at my notes here. Again, the how it connects, I did that. So what's interesting is when you Google flat earth, right? And then you come up with all these articles that are seemed like they're perfectly placed, right? They've got when I Googled it, I've got a couple of these different ones that were basically like, what is it? Wikipedia, obviously, that's the one that we get tagged with. If you put any label of flat earth on YouTube, it's Wikipedia, it says. And even their definition, the flat earth model is an archaic concept. Why do you need to use the word archaic, first of all, right? Archaic concept of earth's shape as a planar disk. It's just the way that they word it. You can tell that they're trying to hide something here.
Absolutely.
But what I would say, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that our whole history is a lie, that everybody knew the earth was flat up to the 1930s.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the crazy part about it, I think, is, that goes into a whole nother subject topic with, them changing all of the, the schooling and the history and everything else. But it's not, I wish my grandmother was alive now. She lived till like 95, because I guarantee you she would have told me a different story. She would have told me what you're saying right now. Yes. So
you saw my Ruth interview, right?
The Ruth one. No, I have not seen that one yet. No.
So 102, I interviewed in February 2020, 102-year-old woman about the World's Fairs.
Yeah.
She had been to the World's Fairs, and she was telling me a story about her 5th birthday party. And I'm like, 5th birthday party? And I said, where did you go to elementary school? She told me the name of the school, the street, the teacher that she had, kids in her class. I said, what did they teach you about the earth? And she said, they taught me the earth was flat. This is in a Connecticut public school in the 1920s.
Yeah.
They were teaching flat earth, and then they changed it some years later. And we found people in other countries that in the 1930s, they were teaching flat earth. So the whole steal over didn't happen until late. Until the mid 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
We had Operation High Jump in 1946, which is where they discovered Antarctica and the ice wall. In 1955 we had Operation Deep Freeze, where they discovered the firmament. Then NASA was created in 58. Then the Antarctic Treaty to hide the ice wall, or the firmament, was created. 1962, Operation Fishbowl, where they started bombing the firmament to try to blow a hole in it. And then the big deception with the Apollo missions, where they, just made us believe that the firmament didn't exist.
It's crazy. The Operation Fishbowl, I went on a deep dive on that one. That was that's a whole topic, what they were doing back then. And it's interesting. There's I saw one of the, I don't know if it was on the on your app, one of the videos on your app that you pointed to, but somebody mentioned how Hillary Clinton in one of her speeches said, we're going to break the glass ceiling this time. It was just this subtle undertone of mockery.
The hardest glass ceiling, there's cracks, we're going to break through. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to break the creation. They are soulless beings.
Nuts. They are. They absolutely are. So what would you say are the three what are the three easiest, I guess, proofs that you would give to a newbie in the subject to kind of think about themselves?
I mean, just anything at this
point. Yeah, that's the craziest part, right? So it was tough for me to even ask that.
I mean, we're spinning, whirling, twirling in 4 different directions at once. But and the water bulges 14 miles high at the equator, but lakes like this stay perfectly flat. Okay, so we can see too far across the water where there should be curvature, but there is no curvature. So no curvature. You can't have high pressure next to no pressure, like a vacuum, like this, like a space vacuum. Um, so that's the second best one. Those two alone kind of prove it. And then this is a sunset. Am I watching the right one? Yeah. This is a sunset in Aluja, France, where we're looking out. So Glober believes that this is the physical horizon. Well, out here, 175 miles away is Mount what the hell's the mountain? I'm just based on name. I said it a million times. Aluja, France, and Mount Canigou, and it's 175 miles away. The top of the mountain should be a mile below this physical curve. But the sun migrates in between the tropics, and there's just 2 days a year, where the sun lines up with this mountain from this viewing point, and you can see it when it backlights it.
Yeah.
Right? The top of this mountain should be a mile below this curvature, but it's not. It's right there. It's flat. So we can see too far. This shot alone proves the Earth is either 100 times bigger than they tell us, which is a whole nother issue. It's not, or it's flat. The other thing is circumnavigation. We can circumnavigate east and west. No one's ever circumnavigated south. You can go on and on.
That's what trips me out. That's one of the ones that kind of trips me out a little bit, because there isn't a single person, and I've watched a lot of your interviews, particularly ones. I think there was one recently where it was a professor, and I remember somebody was hinting to, are there any proofs that exist for heliocentric, and all that was said, and then it kind of he worked his way around it. And no offense to the guy that you were interviewing, but he said, just because I see images from NASA, and that was it. There wasn't any more detail to the proof.
Yeah, that was the Catholic school, the professor.
That was it. Yeah.
And he just at the end, I was like, "What's your proof?" He goes, "Photos and testimony."
Yeah.
Photos and testimony, really?
Yeah.
That
that was one of the ones where, because I've been one of my videos, I'm actually going to go through. I've been looking into our friend here, Neil Degrasse Tyson. Yeah. And I think there's he's got an interesting history to him, right? So I was actually
failed actor.
Well, he is an actor. He's a complete actor.
Failed actor, yeah.
He's a better actor than Bill Nye. Well, that's for sure. But
Bill Nye, the lying guy with the
lying guy. Oh my gosh. But I think what's interesting is there is not a single video I can run into of Neil deGrasse Tyson that actually where he is so he can't be eloquent with this topic. Like he can't wordsmith his way around it, which is completely interesting. Like that to itself. I mean, he's almost like he's so far out of his depth on such a simple topic. Yeah. If you look at any of the videos of him talking about like trying to debunk flat Earth. So I think that's the funniest ones.
It's when you're defending a horrible lie, you're going to get caught up. They constantly move the globe post, we call it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, you can't see the curvature from an airplane. You have to be 70,000 feet, and then we show a balloon at 100,000 feet, where there's no curvature. And like, well, you can't see it from 100,000 feet. You got to be 120,000 feet, and and then we show that there's no curvature at 127,000 feet, and they just, well, you can't see it. You're too small. The Earth is too big. They just lie, make up stories.
So on that topic, have you ever reached out to those guys, or have they ever?
We have an open letter. We have an open letter to Neil deGrasse Tyson. We've reached out to him. He says the science is settled. Well, that proves it's not science, because science is never settled. And he will never talk to a flat earther. He's said that because there's no need to. We don't have time. Obama said, we don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society, right? And but he'll spend video after video after video, produced videos, gaslighting us and strawmanning, argumenting us.
Yeah.
Where it's just nonsense. They want us to believe we're insignificant and we came from pond scum.
which when you realize that is just a fed story, your brain kind of does a flip on itself, and everything else becomes, they're just trying to basically, what they're doing is making us feel like we're some insignificant little grain of sand in the middle of nowhere, right? So, and they've done a good job of that, brainwashing us. I mean, I remember a few years ago, before I started getting more faith incorporated into my life, is that the people that feel lost every once in a while, or feel lost, are the people that are so bought into this matrix of thought that they've ingrained into our heads since day one, where and again, this on the topic of flat earth compared to heliocentric, more than it's just biblical, it's that if they can manipulate such a large lie for what, 100 years, what else can they do? I mean, and then you just, your brain goes in a million different directions. So
yeah.
So what are the arguments? What are the three top arguments, like their counters? Do they have any counters? Do they have any arguments at all?
They've got the best argument they have is Southern Star rotation.
I saw that video. You did, yeah.
Yeah, when you're looking up in the sky, well, we believe that the space is, when we say outer space, it's liquid, and you're looking through a dome of some sort, curved, right, with liquid. Well, the direction things move and how you see things is completely off the table.
This one tripped me and my wife out. We watched this glass one, and she was like, "Really?"
And then watch the way the arrow moves when they move the glass.
I know, it's crazy.
And it's more confusing than that. So we have videos. If you look in the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, under star rotation, there's a whole bunch of videos where we did experiments with how you would see counter rotating poles, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense. So
crazy. Yeah. I heard you have a Bitcoin challenge. Has anybody taken you up on it?
Well, yeah, one person sent me a picture from the space station of like this warped Earth, and they're like, "This is the space station." I'm like, my response was, "Are you 12?
Yeah,
are you 12? Seriously?"
So with Bitcoin hovering around $60,000 now. I mean,
it's like 63,000. I'm offering a Bitcoin for one proof of the globe.
One proof.
Yeah. So on the app, if you watch the daily video every day, there's a new video in the corner. And if you watch that daily video every day for 2 weeks, you can send me one proof of the globe. I'll give you a Bitcoin. But before you do it, you have to hit the question mark. And up comes every single question you're going to ask me. Hey, what about eclipses? Satellites and GPS, how does that work? Ships over the horizon. If I click ships over the horizon, up comes a playlist that YouTube will not let you see. These are videos that will show you what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So, and again, the app has tons of stuff. If you hit the little web button in the middle there, you get mud floods, bottom right. If you don't know about the mud floods, grab some food and water, bring that in. My favorite list is the one in the middle on the right, which is just great full-length videos, documentaries made by ODD Reality and Hibbler and some other guys. Good stuff. And then almost upper left is you got interviews by me.
Yeah,
here are my recent interviews that go on for quite some time. So yours will be on there when it goes up. And
very cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of mud floods, have you ever heard of I'm going down this rabbit hole called the Tartarian Empire?
Yeah, well, there you go. Tartarian mud floods, bottom right there.
Right.
You see what they're digging
out
out
there? It is. Yeah.
The transcontinental railroads were excavated. They weren't built this time.
It's such a, if you want to, it's crazy. That whole topic just blows my mind.
Have you discovered John Levy yet?
I'm not sure. I watched one. The gentleman.
The YouTube channel is John Jon Levy, like Levi's, Levi. Okay. He has these 20-minute videos. He speaks like this. We're very calm. His videos are addictive, and they show you what this world was,
right?
And they'll blow your mind. My recommendation to everybody is go to the John Levy channel and watch every single video he's ever done.
Okay.
And you can speed it up to like 1.5, and it's like nice short videos, 20 minutes, and it'll blow your
I'm gonna
mind.
put that in the links. John Levy.
John Levy.
Okay.
One of the best.
Yeah, there was another one that I ran into. He only posted 2 videos, and they might be, I don't think it's the same person though. And they were more graphical, and they were you actually had to read them. I forgot the name. I'll find it. But the amount of information that was involved with those videos, man, that, I mean, if it's possible that they can completely convince us that of this heliocentric model with limited data or no data at all, right? Then what's the next level of that? And the next level of that, and again, not to go totally off topic, is the Tartarian Empire and how the mud floods. 'Cause I've heard of the mud floods. The Tartarian Empire, I hadn't really heard of. The name I heard of, but it was weird because I was researching something else, and that emblem for the Tartarian Empire had come up in another video I did, and then I saw it. So I was just like blown away and went down that rabbit hole. But if that one is legit, like that whole pathway, that means that everything prior to 1900 is completely false.
Completely false. Absolutely. Just go look at Prague. In Prague, those buildings, most of those buildings were built for giants.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, there was a whole different world here.
It's crazy. And I think the craziest part is when you go into the domes, right? The domes, and how we had free energy.
Oh yeah, the towers and domes.
Because there's no other reason for them, right? Like, you think about it now, you're like, okay, it's cathedral, but why are they everywhere? And when you look underneath that dome,
and how did they build them back when they had horses and buggies?
Exactly.
None of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense. Everything's a lie, from the Wild West to gold mines. It's all nonsense.
Yeah, because that would remove the whole thing about settling here, to Columbus, to the great, going out west, like all of the stories and everything. It literally removes all from the equation.
Yeah,
that's a deep rabbit hole. That's a deep one to get into. So I don't know. I'm trying to get these folks up to speed on flat Earth, but that one is connected. That's a complete connection. Those two, in my eyes. So so Neil deGrasse. So are there any advanced, I would say, flat Earth proofs that you are working on? I know there's a video with like 200 proofs. Are there any others that have been discovered recently that you've come up with that people haven't heard of, or heard of maybe more recently?
I mean, there's just all the regular proofs. I mean, it's easy to disprove the globe, because the globe is just impossible.
Yeah.
I like talking about some of the things, like, we can't see stars at the distance they tell us.
Yeah.
Our sun is gigantic, but at 93 million miles away, it's just a tiny little coin held up at arm's length.
Yeah.
Right. So if you made it 8 times farther, it scientifically would be provable that it's too small to see. That's a light hour. And they're telling us we're seeing stars that are 500 light years away. Okay.
That's one of the ones that got me too. It was like, how stupid have I been?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. And you've listened to my interviews. You know how long a trillion seconds is, right?
Yeah. Was it 37,000 years?
31,000 years.
31,000 years. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's 1 trillion seconds. And we're seeing stars. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Get out of here.
Yeah. Seriously,
get out. Get out.
Get out of here.
Get out.
Just go.
Get out. Go. Get out.
Oh my gosh.
Get out. I mean, I can't be around you anymore.
What's interesting is, so I when I first the star thing really got me, and then I was I'm thinking, what are they going to say to counter that? And they're going to say Big Bang, right? But then none of that makes any like. So wait
a minute. The Big Bang makes perfect sense. Nothing exploded. Created everything, and then all of the rocky bits turned into rocky balls, and then all of the gases coalesced into bigger balls that caught on fire, and they left a vacuum in between. A vacuum.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have a gassy ball floating in a vacuum. Wrap your mind around that for a second.
Yeah.
What does gas do when you put it in a vacuum?
Yeah.
Equalizes.
Yeah.
But gravity, man, gravity, gravity.
Actually, on that topic,
When I hear that, my answer is cool story, bro.
Yeah, cool, cool story, bro. There's actually a question in regards to that that one of these folks had posted. Give me 1 second, and I'll find it. It's in relationship to the vacuum thing. So let me see.
While you're doing that, we're watching the absolute proof that we landed a helicopter rover on Mars. This is the proof right here. You see it? This is the proof.
I think that actually that recent one with the Mars thing, is this the recent one?
This is what they were showing us during the landing. And all of these people, these kids fresh out of space camp, they're watching this animation also.
It's crazy.
Look at the intensity. She got 2 masks on, thank God, because thank God. Yeah. And then when they land, everyone high fives. And that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need to prove that we went to Mars.
That's it. And
it landed. It landed where they're going to make sure. Here's the question: if it crashed, did they have an animation of it crashing?
Probably, but they probably had a couple scripts.
I don't think so. I think that's one script.
It's the Greenland one, right? They took images of was it Greenland that they did, and they just put like a red filter on them. Where'd they get the desert images from? Somewhere I forgot.
Greenland.
Yeah, it was Greenland. There it is.
It's Mars versus Greenland.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Let's see if this is coming from Oxbow Spirit, and they ask, can one demonstrate gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container? I can't even pronounce that.
The antecedent of a container. You can't have gas pressure without a container.
Yes, without a container.
Right. Gas needs a container. Water at rest needs a container.
Yeah. And I think the question is, can anyone in a scientific arena or in a controlled setting replicate what goes on?
No.
No, right? It hasn't been replicated, even on micro level. They can replicate everything else though, right? They can replicate almost the heat of the sun with some of the stuff they have apparently now, some of the technologies.
Space is a vacuum, Earth is high pressure. How come the air doesn't get sucked off the Earth? And the answer that grill overs will give you is gravity. And then, the air just gets thinner and thinner and thinner until it's space.
Yeah.
Well, that would mean a straw. Like if I look down and put a straw in my mouth with the weak vacuum of my lungs and mouth, I can suck water and air up and away from Earth. Yeah. At what altitude can I no longer suck air up and away from the gravity?
Yeah.
At what altitude does the gravity become stronger? The answer is it's nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's interesting. I'm from Connecticut too, so I get the East Coast. I moved out here about 16 years ago to San Diego. So,
all right.
So we've got. Let's see here. Timothy Truther asks, I'd like to know if there are any legit photos of the North Pole.
There are not.
There are not. All right. That's a simple answer. And then he goes on with, if there is a giant stump or even a hole there. I've heard people ask this before. I know the answer, but let me ask it again. Do you plan on putting a team together to explore the North Pole or the South Pole?
So again, money, time, effort.
Yeah.
We have a TV production company that is trying to put together a series about the life of flat earthers, and they want to fund some big experiments, including trip to Antarctica, the Arctic. We have a whole bunch of tests in mind that we want to do. But everything is stalled right now because of the COVID's nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much everything in people's logic is on pause too, I think.
Yep.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
How big is the sun and moon, and how high up, and what are they made of? And it's a 2-part question. This person thinks that they might be, it's a kind of a plasma I know the answer that you've provided before, but can you share what you think?
I mean, it could be a plasma. I just think it's a focus point of energy. We don't know how big it is. Is it 100 miles? Is it 1,000 feet? I don't know
Yeah.
how big it is. We all see the sun and moon in a position relative to our own. They
Yeah.
are relatively close, what we're seeing. So I couldn't tell you, but we're trying to talk to some people and get some answers.
Yeah.
We're getting some interesting information. But again, anything above our heads, we don't, we can only speculate.
Yeah.
NASA says Venus is the size of Earth. I say Venus is the size of a basketball, and you can't prove either one of us wrong
Well,
or
that's true.
right. You can't
That's the
prove us
truth,
right.
right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they don't have any kind of provable
Right.
anything out there that they can prove that. One of the things I would say is I'm not sure if I saw it on your videos or not, was the concept that the moon actually casts a temperature. Was that you that went over that? Or
Well, no, a lot of people have done these experiments, and you can screw up this experiment a lot, but
yeah.
when it's done right, it works really well. When you're under moonlight, it's cold, and
Mhm.
moon shade is warm, which is the opposite of the
That was it.
sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is mind
So
blowing.
yeah, it is mind blowing. The moon produces a cold light.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of the rabbit holes I went down. Just wondering what the difference was between the moon and the sun. What do you got here?
This is the Earth battery system. The moon is the anode, the sun is the cathode, the land is the salt bridge, and the salt water carries the current. And that's how the Earth battery works. The Earth is a giant power system, and we are electrical beings.
Yeah.
If you put did we talk about solar panels? Or was that the last show I just did?
No, not yet. Not yet.
So scientists don't know how solar panels work. They don't know. It's a mystery. They have a theory that photons are knocking out boron molecules, and then a electron jumps in its place and creates a current. The reason they don't know how solar panels work, the technology. Where did the technology come from? Probably came from Tartaria.
Yeah.
But the reason they don't know is because the sun is electric in nature. It's sending electricity down here, and the solar panels just capturing that electricity.
Yep.
It's not photons. It's electricity. It's just capturing electricity and running it into currents. If you had two house plants, you put one in front of a fireplace and one in front of a bay of fluorescent lights, one of them's going to grow. The other one's going to shrivel up and die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The sun is sending electricity down here. We are electric beings. We go out in the sun, our body produces vitamin D. We get healthy. Um, and we're connected to the earth. We're getting free electrons from the earth, when you walk barefoot. But one of the other conspiracy is they've got us in rubber-soled shoes all the time, disconnected from the earth. They're disconnecting us from the earth. They're disconnecting us from each other. They're separating us more and more and more. They're dividing. Now you can't fly to other countries. Soon you won't be able to go to other states. You're not allowed to touch anybody. You're not allowed to have gatherings at your house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're pushing for. They're trying to dehumanize us.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that goes along with everything with like the Tesla, the Tesla papers. And then you go into, again, into Tartaria, where all those domes were really kind of feeding electricity to each other. And what's interesting is that, so there's, have you heard of the Health Ranger before?
Oh, yeah, Mike Adams.
Mike Adams. Yeah. He actually he had a video, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And he did an experiment. He's got a micron telescope. Right. Not telescope, microscope. And he's got this, I forgot the name of the material, but I guess you can get it off the shelf. And basically he heated it up and then had it crystallize. And he had it crystallized in a room under his microscope.
I think it was xylitol.
Xylitol. That's it. Yeah, it was xylitol. That's it.
Yeah.
And without any kind of interference with like 4G, he only had 4G to practice with at the time. And the crystals, they come out like this beautiful structure, right? But then when you introduce 4G, just a 4G signal, they just go all over the place. And it's just interesting that everything that we're with the, I'm not even gonna say because we'll get kicked off YouTube, but it comes after the 4, right? And it has a G on the end of it. Is that there's something there, and the strength of that one, as far as energy wise, in regards to your cells and everything else. Basically, what you're talking about is the Earth is a big conductor, so they're trying to interfere with that. It's crazy.
Amazing. Yep.
Crazy.
Crazy world.
You know what? It's hopefully be all over soon, right? In a good way.
Well, 2025 is a goal, is one of their milestones. So, what will the world look like in 2025? Will there be a lot of people missing? Maybe.
Well, what reminded me of is what's the Avengers movie where the dude, he clicked his fingers and everybody's gone. But it's one of the Avengers series, the latest one. So basically, yeah, he clicks this thing and basically half the population is gone, and then they come back. So they come back eventually in the next series. They find a way to bring them back. And I was just thinking about how, if you go down the biblical path, how, you have the harvest and everything else, the second harvest, imagine just, because they do produce, and movies they're basically brainwashing us and telling us the truth in movies, right? So,
Truth in movies, lies in the news.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the 90-10 rule, right? It's basically 90% is true, 10% is false. That 10% makes you, think it's completely nuts, right?
Yep.
So it couldn't exist. Yeah, it's crazy. So one thing I ran across and was recently, I don't know if you've seen it, is the concept that it is in the flat earth concept, but it's more of the Metatronic cube kind of concept, where
Metatron's cube, the sacred geometry you're talking
sacred
about.
Geometry.
Yep.
Are you open to that concept of that kind of way of thinking about it too?
Sacred geometry is the real geometry. They don't teach you that in school.
Yeah.
And have you ever looked into vortex mathematics?
I've heard it. I haven't looked into it.
Yeah. If you Google on YouTube vortex mathematics, you should be able to find a guy named Randy Powell. He's just there in front of a whiteboard. Just watch one of his videos. You'll go, what the heck? How come I never learned about this in school?
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing stuff.
Really?
Yeah, mind-blowing.
And that's what she kind of goes over that a little bit. She's more on the it's on, have you heard of the channel called The Reveal Report?
No.
And her name is Jessie. I'm gonna completely kill this last name. Sabotar. And she's telling us that she's got like some of the original symbols from God, like the original, the plan, the architecture, all of the symbolization.
It goes into the 5 platonic solids, the gamma tetron, or what? I can't say the word. Gamma.
Something there.
Yeah, something like that.
Something
Gamma
like
tetratron,
that.
or I can't say I'm butchering it.
It's got a tron in it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it's interesting because that was, again, one of the things is that I know for sure. There's one thing I know for sure based upon the proofs and everything else, is that it's not a ball. That's what I know for sure.
That's the thing. People say, I'm not a flat earther, but I know it's not a ball. That's good. You know what? I know it's not a ball either. Everything I've done says it's flat and stationary.
Yeah.
When you say flat, there's hills, valleys, mountains, but it's flat. Water lays flat. Water's level. Down is down for me.
Yeah.
Down is down for someone in Australia. Down is not up for someone in Australia.
Yeah.
Down is down for everybody. Up is up for everybody.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's, I definitely think it's, well, first, I think it's flat. And I it's what's interesting is when you start to go into my wife, when we were watching some of the different diagrams of what flat earth could be, and not the ones that they're pushing out that are that you guys really don't even, most that the more intelligent flat earthers that aren't Mockingbird are not feeding us, but is that anything outside of the realm of the ice wall is more land, most likely. It could be, right?
Could be.
So that gets into when we were watching, my wife watches Game of Thrones, and it's interesting because they talk about all these different territories, and there's a wall in that movie. And if you think about the 90-10 rule, you think about disclosure and everything else, makes sense.
I think that movie, that series was all about just saying the ice wall and having the little guy say, I want to piss off the wall off the end of excuse me, the end of the earth.
Yeah.
And that stuck in everyone's minds. When you say ice wall, they're like, oh, Game of Thrones. And it's mind control.
Yeah.
The entire thing was for that one line.
That 10% really got, for sure. We've got a little bit of time left, and I do want to talk about, I don't want to talk about debunking other folks, but it always sticks out to me. And I'm going to do a series on this, and I think one of the ways I'm starting to approach some of the so-called conspiracy theories is really looking at the so-called experts out there, which aren't experts like you in this field. It's experts like Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? And one of the things, he graduated from Harvard. And we all know
So they
about
say.
What's that?
So they say.
So they say. But UT, he also went to UT, and we know that UT, University of Texas, is by what Alex Jones says, is like one of the biggest conspiracy theorist campuses with like military, underground, and everything else. So I'm just putting those two things together with him. And then he was a stripper. Did you know that he was a stripper?
Did not apparently know
that. So Neil deGrasse Tyson was a stripper. Not that lends any credibility or not, but it's one of those things. I can't find anything, and I'm just thinking about people that are going to walk into this and keep their mind open to it. Is what have you found? And I think I asked this on the front end. What have you found is the silver arrow to getting folks, other than pointing them to your app, which is actually great? Is there any kind of video, a first beginner's video or something that you've done that you want to share that I can put in the links?
The single best video is for a beginner that's willing to watch something of length, 45 minutes, is ODD reality, is called A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth 21 Questions. It is linked in the app.
Okay.
It's the first video on the documentaries videos. Hold on, I'll show you. If you go in the app and you click the web button, a middle row to the right, it says full length documentaries. Click that puppy, and there's a list of videos, and it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth one down. A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth, right there. And that video will set you straight. But these videos, all these videos in here, this is great. Turn off the TV, watch all of these videos in here, and you'll have a great time. They're great videos. They're well done. They're worth paying, like going to a movie. And once you see all of those videos, you will know. You'll be highly entertained. You'll want to watch them again. They're that good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So is there another question I would propose? Is there somebody that you thought would never, a friend of yours, or maybe a professional colleague, or somebody who never thought would change over to the idea of flat Earth, but eventually did? Or do you have folks like that you've run into that just were completely not available in their head to think that this was even a possibility, that you were surprised that they started to transition over?
Yeah, it happens, people out of nowhere, for me, because I'm out in the open, like you could be a flat earther, and your neighbor could be a flat earther, but you never know it because both of you are in the closet. Right. Everyone knows me. So I walk down the street and people see me now. So, and I'm getting calls from friends that moved away 20 years ago to Montana. And they're like, hey, Dave, I was watching Charlie Ward and I saw you on there. I can't believe it. Now, holy crap, the earth is flat. I just found out today.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's happening all the time now. And I'm getting people are finding me on Facebook, Dave, you remember me from, 1975, whatever. Yeah. And they're like, I can't believe it. So it's happening faster and faster, which is why I think that they're pushing out this agenda faster and faster, because they cannot have this awakening. So
no, and that's what it was kind of lead to, is that this past year, I'd imagine for a lot of folks that are in areas or topics that were kind of behind the scenes, if you were interested in them, have really come to the forefront. So you've seen an uptick for sure in questions about this, like over the past year, I'd imagine.
Huge uptick. There's also a couple of big real films, like we put some groups put together some professional films. One of them is called Flat Smack Films. The premiere, the trailer is coming out in 5 days.
Okay.
Flatsmackfilms.com.
Okay.
It'll be featured on the app when it comes out. And then another one is made by Hibbler Productions, is doing it with ODD Reality, Eric
Okay.
Dubay. You know, these are the OGs of Flat Earth, and it's called Level, the film. And
Okay.
that one, I think that one is going to be mind blowing because Hibbler does amazing work. Like
Okay.
this is a Hollywood quality. And I don't want to insult the film by saying Hollywood because Hollywood's pure evil.
Yeah.
But this is this is going to be a professional film that is going to there's no, I predict 0 people that watch it can remain ball earthers. It's going to be that good.
All
So
right.
that's coming out in the next month or two. And when that happens, I think there's going to be a huge game changer. So either there's going to be a huge game changer or there's going to be a pre game changer that changes the game so that never comes out.
Yeah.
So
You know how
who
that works.
knows?
You
Who
know how that
knows? You know
works.
what? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't even know what's going to happen later tonight. But right now, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things is it's interesting how this information over the past year it was almost I can't when you say these 2 movies are coming out, right? I think of the movie with oh gosh, the actor's name can't it's the Sound of Freedom with it's about child trafficking. That's recently coming out, right? And they had a big premiere. It's interesting that all these movies are coming out at once, and we know there's no coincidences, right? So it's almost like destined for this big, not just one reveal, but reveals in so many different topics that we've been, we haven't been that we've been asleep to. It's every day. It's every day something new comes up, and it's almost divine intervention on a scale that
we'll say there's definitely some divine intervention going on. So
yeah,
let's pray that it all comes together.
No, absolutely.
And again, it's up to us. When people say I still have to go to work, there's nothing I can do, that's the psyop. The psyop is that you have no power, that you can make no difference. One person can make a massive difference.
Yes.
Right. And if we all get together, 2 people together, you're 10 times more powerful. Try putting a whole bunch of people together. Watch what happens. This movement, if you want to call it a movement, is the train has left the station and it is running full speed right now. So we're going to see what happens. And I think we're going to see it pretty damn soon.
No, that's amazing. And it's interesting that you talked about, one of the in the beginning of this, say last year around this time, when I was proposing these ideas to friends, it was really that reply is, why does it matter? Right. And meaning, how does that affect your daily life? And then and then 6 months later, I said, well, this CB19 is on our freaking doorstep. So does it affect your life now?
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah,
it's interesting that's the default reply is, how does this affect you? It does affect you. It affects everything.
Do you not care who you are, where you are, what you are? I mean, they're literally hiding who you really are and the true power that you have. They're 100%. Controlling our mind with cartoons.
Mm-hmm. They haven't even isolated that thing yet. The one on
neither one of those things have.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
They're both completely fake.
Neither have been isolated.
Yes.
we have digital mockery.
Yeah, we have the V word. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you want to go ahead and go ahead and I think you've already pushed the app. I personally, guys, I think that app it's really what brought everything together for me. So if you want to let everybody know where they can get that app and where they can find you.
The app is in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. For Android, you have to have an 8.0 operating system or higher, and Apple, you have to have a minimum of an iPhone 6. The app's $2.99. Just read the reviews. You'll see that it's the most loved, highest rated app in the App Store. And it's the only way right now to find information, the easiest way. I won't say the only way. It's definitely the easiest way to find information. So it's a good deal. My podcast is the Flat Earth Podcast.com, or the Flat Earth Podcast is the podcast. Facebook is the Flat Earth Podcast, Instagram, the Flat Earth Podcast, and my YouTube channel, not the Flat Earth Podcast. It's DITRH, which is the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And I have lots of short videos there for the concentration impaired.
There we go. There we go. And any final words to the folks here? I know that it's crazy times, and I going through this material is either going to completely blow their mind or make them think they're more crazy. So, can you have any final words for them, for everybody?
The final word is, if you don't want to know the truth of who you are and where you are truly trapped in the matrix, and you are the person that Morpheus was talking about when he said some people just will never wake up. They're not ready to wake up. Don't be that person. Wake up, because it's shocking at first, but once you have your feet planted flat on the ground on the solid foundation of the world that we live on, and you take your power back, and everything changes. Everything's changed for my life on ways that I can't even imagine. So it just goes on and on and on. And that's it. Take your power back. Wake up. It's, put on your big boy pants. You've been deceived, and deal with it, and take your life back, because it's yours. You chose to be here having this experience, and don't let somebody hijack it from you, because you've been hijacked your entire life. I don't care how old you are. If you believe you live in a globe, you've been hijacked and you don't even know it.
Absolutely. And I agree with 100% what you just said. Don't let yourself be deceived anymore, and take your control back is really the common theme. So, all right, Dave, I appreciate you being on. I appreciate your time, and let's wake some folks up.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right.
See you.
Right, bye.
Bye.